Most men and women live under a dangerous illusion. They believe their monthly salary is the reward, the prize, the end of their financial journey. They spend it as quickly as it comes, at they're waiting anxiously for the next payday. But let me remind you, pause, firmer. Your salary is not wealth, it is not security, it is raw material. Think carefully about this. A factory owner who receives raw cotton yet never sends it into the machines will never hold a finished shirt in his hands. A builder who receives bricks yet never lays them one by one into walls will never stand before a finished house. And a man or woman who receives salary month after month but spends it all on consumption, food, bills, entertainment, will one day awaken to the harsh truth that decades of raw material slipped through their fingers and nothing of lasting value was created. The truth is this: every paycheck you receive is a shipment of raw material, delivered to your door by life itself. But what you build from it, that is your responsibility. That is where your destiny is shaped. The first law you must obey is discipline. Before you spend a single coin, you must decide what portion of your income will be sacred. 10% at the very least, more if you have the courage. This sacred portion is untouchable. It is not for new shoes. It is not for parties. It is not even for emergencies. It is your seed. It is your capital. It is the fuel for your wealth factory. History proves this law again and again. There was once a young man named Warren Buffett. As a teenager, he saved small sums from delivering newspapers. Instead of spending his earnings on pleasure, he placed them into shares of businesses. That discipline, those tiny seeds, grew into one of the greatest fortunes the world has ever seen. The amount did not matter. The second law is allocation. You must divide your salary with wisdom. One part for needs, your food, your shelter, your basic survival. One part for safety, your savings, your emergency cushion, and one part for growth, your investments. This growth portion is the most important, for it is the portion that transforms your raw material into something greater than itself. Think of Mary, a humble teacher. Her salary was modest, barely enough to cover her living, but she made a rule. No matter what, 10% would go into investments. Year after year, she invested in government bonds and later mutual funds. At first, the progress was slow, almost invisible, but over the years, her wealth grew steadily. And when retirement came, Mary stood secure, not because she had a large salary, but because she had treated her salary as raw material, and she had processed it into lasting wealth. Now contrast Mary with John. John was a bank manager earning 3 times Mary's salary. Every month, his pay arrived. And every month it was gone. Luxury dinners, the latest phones, flashy cars. But when his job ended, his wealth ended too. There was nothing left but debts and memories of things he once bought. John had received great shipments of raw material, but he built nothing. The third law is multiplication. Money, when left idle, grows dusty. But money, when invested wisely, begins to multiply itself. It produces more of its kind. This is the true secret of wealth. The wealthy do not depend solely on their labor. They put their money to labor. They make it work, day and night, even while they themselves sleep. And in time, the labor of their money outweighs the labor of their hands. This law explains why a farmer plants seed in the soil. One seed multiplies into many crops. So too with money, when invested, it multiplies. When spent, it dies. The final law is vision. The man who consumes all today will have nothing tomorrow. But the man who sees beyond today, who imagines the future his investments will build, that man rises above dependence. Vision is the power to see your salary not as a ticket to short-term pleasure, but as the foundation of long-term freedom. With vision, a paycheck is not spent, it is invested. With vision, you do not ask, "What can this buy me now?" You ask, "What can this become in 10 years?" So remember these laws: discipline, allocation, multiplication, vision. Together, they transform ordinary salaries into extraordinary wealth. Your salary is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the clay from which you must sculpt your fortune. And so I ask you, with all the seriousness this lesson deserves, will you waste it all and be left with nothing but fading memories of things you once bought? Or will you process your raw material into assets into freedom, into wealth that will outlive you and stand as your legacy. Thank you for watching.